Chapter 21. Are You Keeping Something From Me? Part 2. Previously on Mrs. and Mrs. Wilder. Gotham City, Black Bat Headquarters. As Sophie read through the official Black Bat reports, written specifically for her and Ryan, she realized that the information linking Ryan to Jada Jet was also a recent discovery for Black Bat. Sophie sank into her seat, distraught, laying it all out for Ryan. Her roots, her backstory, felt like a danger zone. She had to tread carefully. Her first instinct was to go to her wife and wrap her in her arms. But as she reached for her phone, she hesitated. Dropping this bombshell on Ryan now, when things were already so frangible between them, didn't seem like the best option. She glanced at her phone, noting the calls and unanswered texts she had sent to Ryan throughout the day. There had been no word, which left Sophie conflicted. I can't even get in contact with her, she muttered to herself. And what the hell am I supposed to say anyway? Hey, Ryan, I think I found out who your birth mother is. She shook her head. The absurdity. If Ryan couldn't even answer calls or texts, did she deserve to know this from her? Or should she just hand over the files and tell her to figure it out herself? The thought was harsh, and Sophie hated herself for even considering it. But what was she supposed to do? This damn woman was driving her crazy. Part of her was ready to pull Ryan into the tightest hug ever after finding this out. But another part wanted to straight up cuss her ass out. End flashback. Present. Sophie was heated. Every tick of the clock raised up her frustration more. She was at her limit. She thought back to just last night where it had been particularly rough. Ryan had locked herself in the garage, working on her computer all night. When Sophie had gone to check on her, Ryan had brushed her off, telling her not to wait up and to go to bed. The kiss Ryan had given her before she headed back upstairs had done little to ease Sophie's anxiety. If this marriage thing didn't work out, what would they do? That's why she was hoping Luke could provide some guidance or potential paths forward. Sophie slammed her fist on the table, the sudden outburst loud in the empty room. Throwing in the towel on their relationship was the last thing on her mind. Ryan meant the world to her, real talk. Her love for the younger woman ran deep, deeper than words could express. All she wanted was her wife back physically and emotionally. Tears welled at the corners of her eyes as she pulled out her phone, ready to try calling Ryan one more time. Just as she was about to hit the call button, her phone vibrated in her hands with a new text message. It was from Iris. Sophie was confused when she opened the message, her mouth going dry as she looked at her screen. There was Ryan, lifting boxes and looking exhausted, with a text that read, "Look how strong your wife is. I think I wore her out, though." It was like the blinders finally came off, and she realized she'd been chasing her tail over nothing. Sophie felt stupid. She then remembered that today was the day Ryan had promised to help Iris move. She had been so caught up in her own head that she had completely forgotten about it. When Ryan told her that she didn't need her help that day at lunch, Sophie was so focused on the perceived rejection that she blocked out all the other details. Now, looking at the photo of Ryan, tired but still pushing through to help her best friend, regret slapped her upside the head as she realized how dumb she'd been freaking out. She had spent the entire day questioning her wife's loyalty and doubting her commitment to their marriage, when, in reality, she didn't need to do all of that. She just needed to pay more attention. She had jumped to conclusions without giving Ryan the benefit of the doubt. Now, with the truth about Jada Jet hanging over her head, she didn't know how to move forward. Sophie was ashamed. Scene 2. Gotham City, Iris's apartment. "I just hit your wifey up about them guns of yours," Iris teased, breaking Ryan's concentration from breaking down boxes. "Huh? What?" Ryan patted her pockets, suddenly realizing she hadn't seen her phone in hours. "Shit, where'd I put my phone?" Iris shrugged, too busy unpacking a box of kitchen utensils to pay much attention to Ryan's minor crisis. She racked her brain, trying to retrace her steps. She'd been bouncing between Iris's old apartment, the moving truck, Iris's car, and now the new place all day. Not to mention her smart watch didn't charge properly overnight, so she left it on the charger at home. "Bet I left it in the car," she moaned, heading out the door. She jogged down to the parking lot, spotting her Jeep, and yanked open the door. And there it was, her phone, sitting innocently in the cup holder. "There you are, you little shit." As soon as she unlocked the screen, it was a tsunami of notifications. Missed calls on missed calls, texts stacked on texts. Then she saw it, the fox and bat emojis. Fuck. That meant Luke needed them, and she'd been missing all damn day. She was nervous as she dialed her wife back. The phone rang a few times until Sophie picked up, sounding distant and stressed. "Hello? Soph, babe, I'm so sorry," Ryan blurted out. "I left my phone in the car, and I've been helping Iris move all day. I'm just so fucking tired, and I didn't even realize." "It's fine, Rye," Sophie interrupted, her new tone now flat and devoid of the anger Ryan had expected. "I forgot too. No big deal." This wasn't the reaction Ryan anticipated. "Wait, what? You're not mad?" "No, I'm not mad. Did you need something?" No. I just saw your calls, texts, and your voicemails. You sounded worried and pissed off. Didn't Luke want us to go down to Black Bat?" Ryan asked, trying to make sense of Sophie's odd behavior. "Yeah, he did, but I handled it. I'll fill you in later." "Oh, okay." Ryan was still not entirely convinced. "You sure everything's all right?" "Everything's fine, Ryan. I'll see you at home." "Yeah, okay. See you at home?" The line went dead, and Ryan pulled the phone away from her ear, staring at the screen. No "I love you," no "be safe," just a curt goodbye. It felt like she was talking to a stranger, not her wife. Ryan tossed the phone back into the car, seemingly not needing it anymore. Something was off with Sophie, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. She dragged herself back into Iris's house, slouched and her head spinning. She put on a fake smile, but her friend could see right through the front. "Sis, you straight? What's going on?" Ryan couldn't hold it together any longer. As soon as Iris reached out and put a hand on her arm, the floodgates opened. Tears streamed down her face, and a heavy sob came out. "Rye, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" "I think my marriage is falling apart," Ryan choked out through hitched breaths. "Wait, what? Falling apart? What are you talking about?" "I've been trying to deal with it on my own, you know? We've been seeing a therapist, but it's been rough." Steadying herself with a long breath, Ryan knew it was time to stop fronting and get real about the drama in her relationship, though she still had to read lightly on spy details. "Backtrack, Rye, what's going on? Y'all were just good at lunch not too long ago." "It's a whole mess, Riss. One second, we're all good, and the next, we're not." Sensing the depth of Ryan's pain, Iris stood up and headed to the kitchen. A few moments later, she returned with 2 glasses of iced tea, pressing one into Ryan's hand. "All right, start from the beginning." She settled back onto the couch. "I'm here for you, sis. Always." Ryan gulped down some of the iced tea, the chill hitting the spot for her scratchy throat. A sad little chuckle bubbled out as she shook her head from side to side. "Well, it started with that damn onesie you sent us a while back." Scene 3. Sophie drove home with the Black Bat files sitting on the passenger seat, its presence a constant reminder of the secrets she now carried. She pulled into the driveway, sighed, and debated about bringing the files inside. She ultimately thought better of it and did not want Ryan to get her hands on it mistakenly. The house was exactly as she had left it, cold and lifeless without her wife's vibrant energy to fill the void. She went to the living room to her firstborn, Oscar, swimming back and forth. "Hey, buddy. I miss you." She tapped gently on the glass. She grabbed the fish food from the cupboard, sprinkling a few flakes into the tank. Oscar darted to the surface, his mouth opening and closing as he gobbled up his dinner. Sophie watched him for a moment, then flopped on the couch. She needed a break, needed something to take the edge off the stress and the worry that had been building inside her all day. Almost without thinking, she pulled out her phone and typed out a message to Ocean. Sophie. "Hey, about that drink. I could really use one right about now. You free tonight?" Ocean. "Sure thing. Vinny's at 9? Sophie. "Sounds good. See you there." She tossed her phone on the couch and headed upstairs to change. She rifled through her closet, pulling out a pair of leather pants and a simple black top. When you look good, you feel good. And she was dying to feel good. Glancing at the clock on the nightstand, she noted the time. 8:20. She figured it was just enough time to freshen up and call an Uber. She tried to push away the nagging sense of guilt that tugged at the back of her mind. She knew she should probably wait for Ryan to get home. Should try to talk to her wife about everything that had happened. But laying it all out for Ryan and seeing the potential pain and betrayal on her face was too much for Sophie to handle right now. No, tonight, she needed an escape. Needed a few hours of mindless conversation and strong drinks. She'd deal with the rest tomorrow. Scene 4. Iris and Ryan stood by her Jeep as the streetlights came on, and the last of the moving boxes were finally unpacked and put away. Wrapping her arms around Ryan in a bear hug, Iris held her close. "Hey, it's gonna be okay." She pulled back to look her in the eye. "You and Sophie, you're gonna get through this. I believe in y'all." A bittersweet grin showed on Ryan's lips. "Seriously though," Iris continued, "what you and Sophie have is a once-in-a-lifetime type of love. Anyone who's around y'all for 5 minutes can notice. Don't let a few rough patches tear you apart. Be honest with her, and demand that she be honest with you." Iris's realness hit Ryan right in the feels. She already knew, but hearing it from her best friend made it even more real. Her and Sophie's love was that special. "I will," she promised, her voice muffled against her shoulder. "I won't give up on us." "Good. Now go home to your wife and work things out." A memory flashed through Ryan's mind as she pulled her friend into another hug, squeezing her tight. Flashback. It was a wild night out with Iris over a year ago. Ryan had been away on a mission and had missed her best friend. When she returned to Gotham, she grabbed last-minute tickets for them to see Megan Thee Stallion in concert. They were hyped, dancing to each track, getting so lit they forgot about everything else around them. When the concert was over, they made their way out of the venue and couldn't stop laughing and reliving their favorite parts of the show. Girl, when she did that thing with her knees during Freak Nasty, I swear the whole place lost it. Iris tried to demonstrate the move, but almost lost her balance. "Girl, you don't have Megan's knees. Get your ass up." Ryan chuckled, helping her stand from being crouched. Suddenly, a woman with caramel skin and auburn curly hair fell into step beside them. "Hey there," her eyes keyed in on Ryan. "I couldn't help but notice you during the show. You were a row ahead of me. I think you're cute as hell, and you have a really nice smile." Ryan grinned, flattered by the attention. "Oh yeah? Appreciate the love, but I'm actually taken," Iris interjected, throwing an arm around Ryan's waist. "She got a giant for a wife back at home that don't play about her." The woman laughed good-naturedly. My bad, I get it." She let her eyes roam over both of them appreciatively. "Well, I just wanted to say you're beautiful." She then looked at Iris more intensely. "Actually, both of you are." "Thanks, boo," Iris called after her as she walked away. Ryan unlocked and reached her Jeep. Damn, shawty was bold. Shite. Iris smirked. Let me find out I need to get me a woman so she can give compliments like that. And you wouldn't know the first thing to do with a woman? Nah, you right. Iris buckled her seatbelt. I'm scared of the kitty cat. Ryan reached over and swatted at her shoulder. Shut up, nasty. Still giggling, she started the engine and began navigating the crowded parking lot, filled with other concert goers trying to make their exit. She decided to let the roof of the Jeep down due to the nice weather out that night. As they were getting close to making a turn on the main street, Iris groaned. I'm hungry. What's open this late? Oh, there's this bomb taco spot, Sophie, and I hit up not too long ago. They're open till like 4 a.m., I think. We should go there. It's on our way to your house. Now, what were you and Sophie doing out that late? Ryan thought to herself about how they had just gotten back from an undercover mission and were starving, but Iris didn't need to know that. We just had the munchies after smoking this new compound I got. Didn't want anything we had at the house, she added with a shrug. Yeah, I forgot you and your wife were weed heads. They both cracked up at that. Speaking of, let me see if she wants anything. She called Sophie through the car system, and her wife's voice came through the speakers. Hey baby, how was the concert? Ryan could tell Sophie had been asleep. Her voice was rougher than usual, and she sounded sexy as hell. Hey boo, it was lit. You know how much I love Megan. We had such a good time. That's good. Sophie yawned. Are you on your way home? Yeah, but Iris and I are going to grab some tacos from that spot we went to on North Ave. You want anything from there? There was a pause as Sophie considered. No, I think I'm good. Thank you, though. Okay, cool. I should be home in about an hour or so. Ryan was about to hang up when Sophie said, Wait, what tacos are you getting? Nuh-uh, you ain't about to eat my food, Ryan teased. Come on, I just want a bite. I don't want a whole taco. You always say that. Sophie laughed, then lowered her voice. I thought you liked it when I go back for seconds. Hold up. Are we still on the taco topic or nah? Do you want me to be talking about food? Sophie's voice was pure lust. Ryan glanced at her friend, who was trying hard not to crack up. Babe, be on your best behavior. Iris is in the car and she can hear you. Oh shit. What's up, Iris? What's up, big head? Big head? Sophie was ready to clap back. I guess everything looks big from where you stand, huh? So you want to go there tonight? Okay, bet. At least I don't have to do the limbo every time I enter a room. Y'all are a mess. Ryan shook her head. These two could never help themselves around each other. Can we focus on the food, please? Hold up, Sophie said, not ready to let it go. I want to hear what else that little shortcake got to say. Shortcake? Iris repeated. That's cute, real cute. So does that make you a long john? Okay, enough. Ryan cut in, firmly but still amused. Y'all can have this little roast session later. Right now, we have more important things to handle, like me eating. So baby, do you want these tacos or not? I want you. Sophie, stop being horny, Ryan laughed. Okay. Just get me whatever you get too, love. Will do. I'll be home soon. Love you. Love you too. And Ryan. Huh? Don't have me waiting for long. I won't. Ryan bit her lip as she ended the call. Iris watched her expression and smirked. Girl, you about to go home and get turned out. Oh, I know, Ryan said as she hopped on the freeway and headed towards the taco joint, eager to get her grub on and have an amazing orgasm or two in that order. End flashback. The memory disappeared, and Ryan tuned back into the present moment with Iris. She climbed into the Jeep and turned the key in the ignition. With the window rolled down, she hung her head out. Thanks for everything, boo. I'll let you know how things go. You'd better. And Ryan, next time you're feeling like this, you call me, you hear? Don't wait until things get this bad before reaching out. I know. I didn't want to bother you with my problems. Girl, please. That's what best friends are for. You're never a bother to me. Thanks, Iris. I promise. Next time, I'll call. Iris nodded, satisfied. Good. And tell your wife that if she doesn't get her shit together, I'm gonna whoop her ass. Best friend's privilege and all that. I'll let her know. Ryan laughed, shaking her head. Though between you and me, I think she's a little scared of you. As she should be. I'm not afraid to put the fear of God into that woman if she keeps hurting my best friend. And you too. You have blame in this as well. I'm not letting your ass off the hook either. Ryan's laughed through the car, feeling lighter and freer than she had all day. She knew Iris was only half joking, but the thought of her tiny best friend taking on her badass secret agent wife was too funny not to laugh at. All right, I'm going, she said, putting the car in gear. I'll text you when I get home, okay? Iris stepped back from the car. You better. Love you, Rye. Love you too. With one last wave, Ryan pulled out of Iris's lot and called the number she had #1 on special via her navigation dashboard. Hey, Sophie's voice came through the car speakers, flat and emotionless. Hey, babe, Ryan said, trying to keep her tone light and not give off that she's been crying for the last hour. I'm heading home now. You there? It was silence on the other line for a long moment. No, Sophie said finally. I'm on my way to hang out with Ocean for a bit. Okay. When would you be home? Sophie let out a dismissive titch, her irritation clear at her wife's nerve. Oh, so now you want to keep tabs on me? Like I haven't been looking for you all damn day? Babe, I told you what I was doing. I'm sorry, okay? I got carried away and I should have checked in more. I didn't even have my phone on me for most of the day. She waited for Sophie's response, but all she got was a sigh. And you still haven't even told me what Luke needed from us, Ryan pressed on. I'm in an Uber right now. I'll tell you later when I get home, and I don't know what time that'll be, so don't wait up. Ryan had to bite her tongue to keep from snapping. She was heated, but she knew pressing Sophie would only make the situation messier. Okay, whatever then. I guess I'll see you when I see you. She hung up before her wife could respond. Sophie's actions had her head spinning, struggling to understand what was going on. Why was she being so evasive? What had happened with Luke that she wasn't telling her about? Her reflections were disturbed by the sound of her phone ringing again loudly in the car. She glanced at the screen. Marky's name popped up at her. For a moment, she considered answering, but right now, she wasn't in the mood to talk. She left the call on voicemail and sent a quick message instead. Ryan, hey, I can't talk right now. I'll call you back later. Marky, bet. It's important, so hit me back as soon as you can. Ryan double-tapped his message with a heart and tossed the phone back onto the seat. She needed time to think and process everything that had happened that day while she was in bumper-to-bumper traffic. Her mind kept circling back to Sophie and her weird vibes today. Ryan knew she had contributed to this, her own baggage and hang-ups creating a wall between them. But she also knew that wallowing in guilt wouldn't solve anything. She had to take action to find ways to be a better wife, partner, and friend to Sophie. Her thoughts went to the little things, the daily gestures of love and support that she could get back to, and not just sex. Sex was all it was. She couldn't think of the last time she actually made love with her wife. Ryan's mind wandered to their intimacy, how it had shifted from passionate lovemaking to hurried encounters, often used as a distraction from the real issues they needed to discuss, more of a band-aid than a true expression of their love. While the sex remained mind-blowing, it wasn't the same as before. It lacked the emotional depth they once had. She laughed to herself, thinking back to how they used to make love with such abandon, that if it were possible, and biology allowed, Sophie would have knocked her up a few times. The humorous thought passed, and Ryan's mind turned to Sophie's wish to start a family, the way her wife's eyes lit up whenever she talked about having kids. Ryan had always been quick to shut down the idea with her own fears and self-doubt were getting in the way. But maybe it was time to put on her big girl panties and really consider what it would mean to expand their family. She knew it wasn't something Sophie wanted right away. They had only been in the espionage game for a couple of years, after all. Still, Sophie had made it clear that she wanted Ryan to be on board when the time was right. And Ryan and her stubbornness had refused to even discuss when that might be. Never had been her go-to answer. But she knew that wasn't fair. Marriage was about compromise, about finding a way to meet in the middle. She wondered what a baby with Sophie might look like. She smiled at the thought of a little one with her wife's dimples and eyes. Their kid would be athletic and strategic like Sophie and funny and mini genius like Ryan. The world wouldn't stand a chance if they brought a little Wilder into the world, especially if they taught their kid everything they knew. Her thinking floated to the kids from the community center and how they got excited whenever they learned something new. She loved watching them grow and develop, seeing their potential unfold before her eyes. She wished she had something like the community center when she was coming up. But then, a brand new thought came out of left field. What if, instead of having a biological child, she and Sophie considered adoption? Ryan's upbringing in the foster system had been tough, but it had also shaped her into the woman she is today. What if she and Sophie could give a little boy or girl the love and stability she had never had? The more she thought about it, the more it made sense. It was a path she had never considered before, but now it seemed like something she could bring to the table. Even if she was still unsure about all of this, it was worth sharing. Could she let go of her doubts about being enough on her own for her wife and open her heart to share their love with a kid who needed it? Maybe. But first, Ryan knew she had to listen. She had to hear her wife out. And in return, she had to articulate her own fears and doubts that scared her about all of this. It wouldn't be easy, and she wasn't ready to say, let's do it. But she was ready to try to open up. She was ready to fight for their marriage because what they'd been doing just wasn't it. And if that meant facing her own demons and compromising on the things that mattered most, at least just talking about it for more than 3 minutes, well then, that was exactly what Ryan would do. Because Sophie was worth it. Their love was worth it. Scene 5. 1, 2, 3, and to the foe. Snoop, doggy dog, and Dr. Dre is at the door. Sophie stumbled through the crowded bar, her words slurring together as she sang along to the hip-hop music. She waved her arms in the air, shouting nonsensical phrases and drawing weird glances from the other patrons. Ready to make an entrance, so back on up, 'cause you know we about to rip shit up. She ran into a group of college kids who egged her on. Ocean finally caught up, firmly guiding the rapping agent away from her audience and over to the bar, where she now ordered more drinks. He watched with concern as she downed shot after shot and tried to intervene, replacing her next round with water, but Sophie was having none of it. Hey, what are you doing? She said unintelligibly, snatching the glass from his hand. I don't want water. I want another shot. Sophie, I think you've had enough. Why don't we sit down over there and talk for a bit? Ugh, whatever. Sophie rolled her eyes, but let Ocean pull her to an empty booth, still with a drink in her hand. She flopped onto the worn vinyl seats, her neck going limp as her head tilted sideways. So spill it. What's got you downing drinks like a sport instead of being home with your gorgeous lady? Figured you'd be glued to her side after finally getting in contact with her. 'Cause I'm a failure, Ocean. I can't even keep my wife happy. What are you talking about? You and Ryan, you're the perfect couple. Yeah, right. Perfect. That's a joke. She blindy reached for drink, but Ocean intercepted her hand. Soph, come on. Talk to me. What's going on with you and Ryan? Tears formed in her eyes, and she rapidly blinked, attempting to hold them back. I thought she was trying to sabotage me. I was so sure she was up to something. Sabotage you? Why would Ryan do that? With an ironic laugh, Sophie shook her head, unwilling to divulge the reasons behind her beliefs. Turns out, she wasn't. She was just helping Iris move. And here I was, ready to throw away our whole marriage over some stupid suspicions. Whoa, back up. What did you do, Soph? She said nothing. Soph? He covered her hand with his. She shrugged him off and grabbed her shot glass. This time he didn't try to stop her. She took the shot to the head without even grimacing. You don't get it. Ryan, she's perfect. She's everything I've ever wanted, everything I ever needed, everything I never knew I needed, she whispered, her voice trembling. And me? I'm scared, Ocean. I'm scared that if Ryan finds out, I'll lose her. Forever. What the hell are you talking about? What will Ryan find out? That I asked Luke. Yo, pretty boy, why don't you let a real man show the lady a good time? A crew of lit dudes rolled up, smelling like they bathed in cologne and arrogance. They circled Ocean, snickering and nudging each other. He just rolled his eyes, ignoring their pathetic taunts. But Sophie was having none of it. Back the fuck off, Sophie growled, her words teetering between slurred and sharp. Before I force feed you your own balls. Don't be like that, baby. I'm just trying to show you a good Something inside her snapped. All the pent-up frustration, the anger, the self-loathing that had been building up inside her suddenly came rushing to the surface, without giving a warning. She cocked her fist back and laid the loudest jerk out of the group with a mean left hook. He fell to the ground, and his friends couldn't believe what they just witnessed. Not one to let some bitch show them up, they started to attack her. All hell broke loose as the crew attacked. Ocean jumped in the mix, putting his size to use and shoving one of the punks back. Another dude took a wild swing, but Ocean ducked it smoothly, then dropped him with a brutal shot. Through the brawl, he caught glimpses of Sophie. She moved like a woman possessed. Her hands were moving like a hurricane, rearranging faces with each combo. Having just sent the last moron stumbling away, Ocean turned to see Sophie straddling some kid, clobbering his face relentlessly. The boy's head snapped back and forth like a rag doll, blood and spit flying everywhere. Sophie, stop, he shouted, but she didn't seem to hear him, lost in alcohol and rage. He rushed over and wrapped his arms around her waist, hauling her off the barely conscious boy. She whipped and screamed, and her elbow caught Ocean in the ribs. He grunted but held on, dragging her back. The bar owner appeared pissed off. Get her the hell out of here before I call the cops, he spat. Ocean nodded and muscled Sophie toward the exit. She struggled, but her movements were growing sluggish, the adrenaline wearing off. Her legs gave out as they burst into the night air. He tried to keep her upright, but she slipped from his grasp and fell hard on the pavement. Slowly, painfully, she pulled herself up to sit on the curb. She looked a mess, her hair wild and matted with blood, her knuckles raw and full of cuts. Her head hung low, and she looked totally diminished as if the fight had been drained right out of her. Standing over her, Ocean shook his head in disbelief. What the fuck, Sophie? What the actual fuck? Sophie just sat there looking small and broken. I'm sorry, she mumbled. I don't know what came over me. I needed to feel something, you know? No, I don't know. I'm calling us an Uber. Don't fucking move. He stepped away with his phone, running a hand over his buzz cut. This was bad. This was really fucking bad. He glanced back at her, huddled on the curb like a lost child. Seeing her like that twisted his gut. He knew she was struggling with something, but this shit was on another level. He entered his pickup spot in the app and saw the driver was just around the corner. He turned back to Sophie, not looking forward to carting her into the car. Come on, let's get you home to your wife. Scene 6. Ryan's hand twitched, the phone nearly slipping from her grasp as a vibration jolted her awake. She blinked, disoriented, the room coming into focus as her sleep-fogged brain caught up. What she thought was a text from Sophie turned out to be from Ocean instead. Ocean, hey Ryan, I'm bringing Sophie home. Ryan, is she okay? Ocean, no. Ryan, what happened? But no answer came. Ocean's text had pulled her out of a deep sleep. Her mind and body were so tired when she got home that she showered and headed straight to bed. She didn't even get a chance to call Marquise back. But now awake on high alert, her nerves were shot, and she wondered what was going on. She texted and called Ocean over and over, but he didn't pick up. Ryan couldn't stay still, her mind going a million miles a minute as she kept checking her phone. But shortly the doorbell went off, and she heard Sophie's voice from the other side. Ryan, open up! Sophie, quiet down before your neighbors complain, Ocean's muffled voice warned from behind the door. Fuck the neighbors! I'll kill them too! Sophie shouted, liquid courage fueling her bold declaration. Ryan flung the door open and took in her wife's battered body and unsteady frame, propped up by Ocean. Hey, Rye, he said, looking apologetic. Sorry, I couldn't respond back. We had to walk the last few blocks because she was being an ass to the Uber driver. What the hell happened? Got into a nasty bar fight with a group dimwits at the bar? You should see the other guy. Sophie giggled, head lolling to the side. She had a long night, he said simply, his tone suggesting there was more to the story than he was letting on. Ryan's nostrils flared as she struggled to stay calm, but she managed to nod, her eyes zeroing in on her wife's bruised face. Thanks for getting her home safe, she said, moving to take Sophie from Ocean's hands. She started mumbling nonsense, and Ryan grunted under the weight of her wife's body, struggling to keep her upright. Come on, she said, half dragging, half carrying her towards the stairs. Let's get you upstairs. Sophie tripped on the first step, nearly sending them both tumbling to the ground. Walk like you got some sense, woman. You ain't that drunk. I am, she slurred. Ryan sucked her teeth, shaking her head as she steadied Sophie on the way to their bathroom. Finally, when they made it, Ryan lowered her onto the closed toilet seat. Sit there, and don't move. You're not the boss of me, Sophie pouted, sticking out her bottom lip like a sassy teenager. Her speech was still slurred, but her attitude was clear as day. All right, you do you, Ryan said, shaking her head as she ran down the stairs. She scooped up a couple of cold waters from the fridge while her thoughts were spinning with concerns and questions. She jogged back up the stairs, the water bottles clutched in her hands, and when she reached the bathroom, she found Sophie exactly where she had left her, staring blankly at the wall. Drink this, Ryan said, thrusting one of the bottles into her hand. Sophie took it without argument, bringing it to her lips and drinking the water like she had been lost in the Sahara for days. Ryan turned and started looking for the first aid kit under the sink, her mind already cataloging the various injuries she would need to tend to. But before she could find it, she heard a splash and felt a sudden wetness on the back of her head. She stood back up and saw that Sophie had thrown the empty water bottle into the bathtub. The plastic had bounced off the tile and hit Ryan square in the back of the head. Are you fucking serious right now? Ryan's patience was wearing thin. Can you stop acting like a damn fool for 5 seconds? I don't know how, Sophie then burped loudly, eyes blank and spaced. Ryan's anger cooled eventually when she really looked at her wife. The abrasion on Sophie's arm looked painful, the skin red and raw. Her mascara was smudged, black marks running down her face, and her knuckles. She winced at the sight of them. Oh, Soph, what did you do? She reached out to brush a strand of hair from her face. Then she gently dabbed at the cut on her lip. Sophie winced, her eyes opening. Ow, fuck! She jerked away. What the hell? Are you trying to make it worse? I'm trying to help you, moron, but I can't do that if you keep moving. Oh, so it's my fault now? I'm sorry I'm such a burden to you. Damn it, Sophie. You know that's not how I meant it. Don't even go there. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot I'm supposed to be the perfect wife, even when I'm drunk and bleeding. Fuck that. I'm just trying to help. The fight left Ryan as she realized Sophie's outburst was fueled by the pain and alcohol coursing through her. But man, those bitter words from her wife cut deep, even when she knew it was the liquor talking. I'm sorry. Sophie changed her demeanor quick when she saw the pain in her wife's face. It was like a switch went off. I'm so sorry, Rye. I didn't mean it. Beneath the liquor-laced rambling, an unmistakable vulnerability was there. I'm such a bitch. Dunno why you put up with me. Ryan shook her head, her heart breaking at the self-deprecation in her wife's voice. Don't say that, Soph. You're not a bitch. Yes, I am. I'm a fucking mess. Tears, blood, and makeup created a mess on her face as the sobs shook her body. Ryan felt her own eyes sting at the sight of her wife's brokenness and gathered the trembling woman into her arms. I'm sorry, Sophie sobbed, her face buried in Ryan's neck. I'm so sorry, baby. I don't deserve you. Ryan held her tighter. Shh. It's okay, baby. It's okay. I want to be better for you. You make me better, but I'm such a fuck-up. No, you're not. Ryan brushed her finger against Sophie's chin. You're not a fuck-up, my love. She turned away ashamed. Yes, I am, she insisted with shame. I'm a mess, and I don't deserve you. I'm always thinking the worst when... Sophie stammered, her voice trailing off as she struggled to get the rest of the words out. Sophie, honey, focus on me. Ryan locked eyes with her wife. She maintained her stare until Sophie's eyes found hers, silently reassuring her of the endless love and empathy she held. You are not a fuck-up. You are the love of my life, and I'm not going to let you talk bad about yourself because you're hurting. But I'm the one hurting you, Sophie whispered, and I don't want to hurt you anymore. I love you, Rye. I don't want to hurt the woman I love. I know, baby. I know. Sophie's eyes fluttered closed, her body going slack in Ryan's arms. The exhaustion and the alcohol had finally taken their toll, dragging her into a deep, dreamless sleep. Ryan picked her up as best as she could and eased her onto the mattress. After placing her wallet and phone on the nightstand, she yanked her pants down and took off her shirt. Once Sophie was just in her underwear, Ryan pulled the comforter up to cover her and cut off the lights. For a long moment, she just sat there, watching Sophie breathe. Her wife looked so distressed and defenseless that it made Ryan's heart hurt. She had never been one to get drunk like this. Ryan thought back to their earlier conversation, to how she had brushed her off on the phone. What had driven her wife to drink herself into oblivion, to get into a fight with a group of strangers? Did she really fuck up by missing the black bat calls? Was Sophie not truly able to handle it? And did she lie? Ryan didn't know what was happening, but she felt that something was wrong and her wife was hiding something. And that scared the hell out of her.